A suicide survivor can be described as someone who has been affected by or lost a loved one to suicide. One Great Falls man knows that experience. He lost his father to suicide. Since his loss, he's journeyed through many emotions, guilt, and grief. Shannon News shares his story as we continue the MTN Zero Suicide Initiative.
Oh, my father was just a great guy and a good businessman and a very ethical person. He was 87 years old when he chose to take his life.
August 8, 2001 is a day Owen Robinson will never forget, and a day that would forever change him.
Oh, it was a horrible day because the day before he actually told me that he thought maybe the solution was suicide. Blew me away. I was with him the entire day and talked to him, and I thought I had calmed him down, and at the end of the day he promised me that he would not do that. And then the next morning he did.
Owen says at first he was disappointed and felt his father had lied to him, but he realized that wasn't the case.
Things inside him that he couldn't deal with didn't make him think correctly. He just was not able to handle them. And it was his way. It was his way to cope with the things that he couldn't cope with anymore. It took me a long time to realize that.
Owen says busyness of life and many responsibilities kept him from confronting the loss for a long time.
But eventually I had to face it, and it was so devastating and so encompassing. It was very difficult to think straight or work or do anything.
He was motivated to do something so others wouldn't have to walk alone. He started the Life After Suicide group through Peace Hospice. The free 10-week program is held twice a year specifically for those who've lost someone to suicide.
There are two components of suicide, two components of that loss that are different than other losses. And one is there's always a feeling of guilt. The person left behind somehow thinks, and usually unfoundedly, they think that they were the reason. It was their fault. They should have known. They should have been able to stop it. That's what I thought. And then the second thing is that there's a stigma behind suicide. And so if you lost somebody to suicide, you don't really want to talk about it to anybody because it's a stigma.
Owen hopes to provide a place to break down stigma and give those who've lost a loved one to suicide a chance to process their loss and gain resources.
For those contemplating suicide, you have to think of you may think that there's nobody in the world that loves you and all that, but I can assure you that if you're gone to suicide, there are going to be those people hurting for years and years and years. And think about them. And if you think about them and you think about yourself, get the help you need.
If you or someone you know has lost someone to suicide, you can call the Peace Hospice to get more information or sign up for Owen's group, Life After Suicide. We have that information on our website under the Zero Suicide Initiative tab. There you'll also find other suicide prevention resources. If you are struggling, please call one of those resources to get help.